这抓得到吗？哎，哦，抓到了，对，延迟还好，那没事，没事，延迟还好。我只记得这是个好像是类似个走路模拟器的叙事类游戏，好像是这么说的。总之就再玩一遍。这声音是不是有点吵啊？但这声音好像有点吵。对，让我设一下声音频，这样子吧。船上。怎么手还是残？
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
等一下，有字幕吗？还是音频来着？通知，画面，没有字幕吗？好吧。 所以就当他全部都会念吧，没事。
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
一半，那也不多嘛。
Inside the mailbox were bills from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately.
哦，还有反光，这么神奇吗
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Louis， 李景元这念 Louis， 错了。
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked.
钥匙，好。
Maybe she thought I'd know.
我不知道。
Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
确实的，小路和大路嘛，这也是能走大路吧？哦 ，Shift 不是加速啊 ，Shift 是放大。下面有青蛙。
No one had driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoof prints.
路吧，应该是路吧。啊，是路。你好。声音有点怪，声音传导有点怪。听着像从后面来的。
Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it.
那所以为什么今天会回来
But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
哦。
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
不，这扩建的也太多了吧？
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
为什么？这么大好房子不是应该？为什么？你不是有药？
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
你有钥匙，你为什么不先试钥匙啊？
The power had been turned off the night we left.
啊，行吧。感觉也没记多少回啊，好像有点，感觉应该再厚一点。走路也没有，感觉像还有人啊。这是什么？不对，不是。 不对，不是。
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
为什么
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
是吗
Like how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
靠，真的全是三文鱼罐头。所以为什么会离开
Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house. So we had Chinese a lot.
那不挺好的？国外中式外卖好吃吗？经常看到，如果好像看起来全是面、炒面之类的，还是因为外国人就只吃炒面，所以说
The table
中
was
餐也
still
就
a
只
wreck
做
from
炒
the night
面
we。left.
不应该是有炒饭什么的吗？为什么番茄酱吗？还是是番茄酱？氧气瓶哦。
It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
这不就是那个吗？那叫什么核弹？不是核弹，那个。
My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
哈？沉默？哦，这个字。是吗？这块板是什么东西？这是船吗？看不太出来。哦，是吗？八音盒吗？哦，能转。
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara,
他做的啊，
along with the rest of the house.
The North Maze。哦，这个刚刚做的是这个，这是什么？窥视孔吗？
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
哦，藏尸体的吗？哦，那块板就是窥视孔。
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
我刚才怎么写的 ？Milton Finch。哦，你们家族的姓氏是 Finch。哦，封死了。上去吗？还是刚刚那边的有算先上去吧。等一下我开一下东西，稍等我一下。因为我总感觉那边好像卡住了，有个东西卡住了。等哦。好。
After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
哦，Edie是你哥，还是？哦。
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up.
为什么？装饰很好啊。
Louis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
哦。老叔寄人名很累。
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
啊？这就是好棒。
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of.
是不是应该先把主意摊完，我再进来？算了。等我再出去看一下那个好了。 哦，不让我出去了，完了。
From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me.
哦，这个钱。
Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan.
什么 plan？
But I had no idea what was behind that door.
哦，这个是。
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Molly.
I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole. Molly's gerbil had a tiny bedroom with its own even tinier gerbil cage.
沙鼠是什么？仓鼠吧。猫头鹰。这蚂蚁观察盒吧。
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting.
Molly， 哦，这是小房间，芭芭拉。Stephen 和 Edith 是同一个房间的。什么的？哦，日记。
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
需要大量的食物。
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
OK， 那我回去睡觉。他不让我睡啊。为什么突然变这么黑啊？
I kept eating and eating.
好，牙膏不能吃，牙膏不能吃。喂，Oh shit！ You， 这是鱼能吃吗？
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
忍住了可还行。不，你真的想吃活鱼，而且还是金鱼？哇哦！然后你家沙鼠呢？让我看沙鼠到底长什么样。看不了，行吧。
I ate a lot of things that night.
啊，这个不是装饰哦。啊，鸟叫。
Then I heard chirping outside my window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
No, please, no, please. 这很危险，不要出去。
And suddenly, I was a cat.
哈？哈？ 哦，还是要跳的。
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
对。他们家里也没人啊。这边有什么？都看不到里面看不到什么东西啊。
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
那你这怎么一动不动的？怎么走啊这？哦，这样好。是要过去吗？哦，这样子啊。
The babies were all gone.
不然你真的想吃他孩子吗？
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up. And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling in the grass. Rabbits. I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my palms. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit.
What the fuck?
Then I flew off to find something bigger. A mama rabbit.
找到了吗？这边听到什么？前面。哎呀！什么范围才能抓到呢？哟。
She was almost too big to carry.
你不会让它整
I
吞吧
started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
嗯？这个有点怪了。嗷！这也太邪了。
I rolled off a cliff and into the ocean. Now, I was hungrier than ever.
你不要吃人吧？海豹。
I wanted fat, juicy seals. I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
I found you. Don't you go? 牛牛牛！哎呀，有点难受。
Grabbed on tight.
咬着。
And I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
什么意思？嗯？嗯？嗯？嗯？出手。 什么意思？
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
哦。是你，你要往亮的地方走，应该是那里吧。
I was big, and I moved real quiet.
不是有问题，你怎么吃？
After the last passenger, I was
Last
still hungry. And across the water, I smelled
刚刚趴着的是谁？
something I had to have, so I
这
swam
干嘛？
towards it. I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
小肠，这怕是嗑药哎。往上，这往上，这不就是？这不是你家吗？像是。
I got closer and closer.
这不是你家吗？哦，你的床底有怪物了。
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
一开始是你变，但是最后又不是你，什么意思啊？
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
哦，你是，等，你叫什么？六爷子是你哥？啊？ 哦，Edith，哦，认错人了，不好意思。
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
摸脚。
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories.
哦，这是新建的。
Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though,
就是那边的
when we adopted a
有个
stray
板石
kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
哦，父母的房
I
间。
spent a lot of time in Great Grandma Edie's room.
真子女。
Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the
把
curse
房子也带出
behind.
去。
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the
我
sea.
觉得这想法就有点问题。
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby
哦，
Molly,
所以说刚才说
step ashore on
沉
their
了
new
的
home,
房子是没说
Orcas
错，
Island.
就是这个房子。 欧顶是你的曾曾祖。
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edith is already dreaming of a new Finch
欧
house.
底是你曾，Edith 是你曾祖母。没了。1937，我看。
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
哦，曾祖父啊，那就是说你是 Edith， 然后 Lewis 和 Milton 是你哥。对，没错。Molly 算是你，这算什么？这是母亲奶奶辈的了吧？靠，这怎么算？这是 Stephen 和Stephen 和 AD 是夫妇不是兄弟是夫妇啊。
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious. Lewis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Louis 是你哥，缝纫机啊，真好啊！他这个是要封成跟这个一样的，一样纪念的。Edith Milton Lewis， 每个人都有一个。Sam Carfin。Barbara, Molly, Walter。Molly 算是你们，算是最早的，1937、1943，差不多了。built.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
为什么不撤？为什么这样？森林火。
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
东西的话题 C 粉是你，靠，好难算啊。C 粉在哪？没有 C 粉。上伊里这边的。C 粉有了这个。就这个吧。不是，怎么还拍到这瞬间的
？Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
左边这是你妈，右边还是这个是？还是下 ？What the fuck? What the fuck? 你他妈在浴室搞这个 ？What the fuck is that? Oh my god! Damn.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom.
K， 这个是吧？
It was a pretty big trace.
太迷惑了，这个操作。There are secrets in this bedroom, as Stephen and Edith Finch.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
哇！不，你倒是吧？算了，也无所谓，也不会有人再来了。
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
秋千 哥也来过这。
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
Coffee.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it. My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom, and he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again, and he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready!
Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
飞出去了。
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother. The day he made up his mind to fly, and he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing. After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
所以说入伍以后就死啊，不是头。啊？这个是什么过程？被子弹没看清楚。
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
你确定有这种酒？先把这个门打开吧。 这一个，芭芭拉，下一个是芭芭拉。
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
3楼手上。
Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
为什么？哦，演过戏。这个 Stephen 和 Edith 的房间。
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
哦，这 些。
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
只有你们家是这样。
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
提交这本书其实说的有点诡异啊。
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947.
10岁。这些又是谁的手稿？这些昆虫。
Edie's father Odin built the original house.
又是米尔顿。
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
不是吗？
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Oh, Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent.
门都已经开了，为什么？出来月光心慌慌啊！哦，不。
She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
哦，我有武器了。哎，啊！
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman Killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
哦，那个血不是他的，那血是他爸的。
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show.
Huh?
Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Oh, 这是什么东西？哎，改过了，有这个。这书房的书也没放。哦，最近好几十年了。我要捶你啊！出来了，出来。
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
摔得有点痛。又走回去又是你男朋友？哦不对，你男朋友腿断了。哎，不行。
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear.
Huh?
Now that's what I real eerie tale.
他为什么自己才真的在吃甜甜圈？不太明白。
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
关不上。这是披萨吗 ？You。这都是怪物吧？些都是电影跟电影有关的。 又要我进去了。
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
怕你把钥匙弄出来。
It's funny. All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
不说这个是谁找的？谁会一直扭到把眼后坏掉啊？ 左手边哦，没错。
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
所以是把手划破了。哦，这个是那个滑梯的出血，等比例缩小的那个吧？那东西叫什么？
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
哦。
I thought maybe she was hiding presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that. I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone.
Walter 是哦，那个。
She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Wow.
If there's a pattern in all these stories, I think it's that none of us has gotten very far.
洗碗槽、厕所、火车、Walter。
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything. Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
这就是所谓跟别人说话就会疯掉了那个。
And then one day, everything just stopped.
29年
Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave. Well, I still can.
这边有什么？一幅画，假的画。不只有书，你要是有个电视机啊，有个电脑什么的，我觉得可能都不会这样。是有书的可能真的会疯掉吧。
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one new day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
，Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here. I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real. I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. and the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edith who designed the cemetery.
What? Steven 是做滑梯死的，有说一底怎么死了，好像还没有啊。Carfin 是飞出去了，莫瑞是被那个怪物吃掉了，芭芭拉是作为电影明星死去的。
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away.
Odin， 这个是 Edith 他们，是 Odin， 对 Odin， 然后 Edith 和 Stephen 是他们两个。
She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
就那个用船拖着那个房子。
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
George, Sam 这3个人还没见到。George, Sam， 这3个。Sam 是去当兵了。1983是33岁，这个呢？23岁吗？不是，13岁。 就1岁，就1岁啊，这么小的。还不确定。Milton 是那个吧？是那个在墙上画画的那个。
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us.
哦，三兄妹。
We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone.
So Lewis 确实是死了。
There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
啊，有生育哦。那刚才说的可能会有还有2个成语，就是说这个咯。生了他自己，还有他肚子里的孩子。
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
哦，有了。
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Hmm?
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. The camera's older than you are.
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
这样不叫我飞啊！要不是要我飞，那是要我飞什么
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture.
Hey!
That's a keeper.
Nothing quite like being outside. I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph?
Like what?
Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. You don't need to waste any more film on me, kiddo. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere.
就给他说完吗？
I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map. Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad,
Just breathe. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Great shot, Don! I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
为什么？有点不太懂。啊，就这吧。
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
Uzi 的那些标本应该也都是 Sam 的兴趣啊。
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot. I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
这两个都是在这个哦，这就是那个1岁的小孩子。
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
这是什么？这只是有控制能力吗？所以这是有控制能力。
That's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw.
This 就真的是有控制能力啊。
What his world was like. It reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw, it sure made him happy.
可不可以先把这个拔掉？我说是让一个人风水有点。
But I worried about the baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory, about everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure he's happy. I want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
笑得好，怎么有点像川普啊？靠！算了，当时也没有消息。看一下 guess 我 guess 怎么念
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
这手环就很青少年的叛逆感。原本也想要
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
下不去。
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
所以这个是被龙卷风给龙卷风卷起帐
She
篷，
never
然后
talked
打
about
死
him,
了。
but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Sweep trash 什么意思？升旗早餐 clear time 安定时间是什么东西？小睡吗？哦，这是练习。哦，有地图啊。哦。你一个孕妇
My mom moved up
干
to
这
the
是真的
loft
好
after
啊。
her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
你妈是动。
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Oh, 等等，我们要出去，我们要。行吧。无比小画家。
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh, 要翻。算是他自己走了吗？
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out. Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Louis's room. Except Louis.
Oh,那边。其实说真的，这不危险吧？整个班上，这真的够无聊吗？
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
你是指臭是吗？
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to... wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Louis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Louis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Louis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. he held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Louis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of his electric sitar. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Louis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Louis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him. Louis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot. On the way back from Louis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Edith, 这是你的房间。
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night. That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
The power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
这么明显的，这看不到，认真。
The thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Oh, he did.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the band came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Edith 是那场死。这一家真的都是死亡诅咒。Edith 的儿子估计也要死啊。对啊，他说他哥失踪了，那现在可能就是剩他哥和他儿子。他哥现在生死不明，然后他儿子现在回来，那肯定也要出事。不太理解。 像是看了一整本小说啊。Finch 拖了5年啊。好，那就休息吧。啊，导致我鼻子有点痛。好，休息了，拜拜。